Hello and welcome back to episode 121 of Talkoffamepod podcast with their host, Kyliemontigney. I'm so excited to have on. She plays Zanetta Shinn in The Music Man on Broadway and dancer Emma Crow. Thank you so much for coming on, Emma. I'm so excited to see you.
Hi. Thanks so much for having me.
Of course. So you started dancing at the age of 2 at Jersey School of Dance Arts. Like, how has starting to dance at a young age impact your journey as a dancer?
I started, as you said, when I was 2, and I really knew I wanted to be a dancer at around 7. So it's been a part of my life for as long as I can remember. It's like people would go to soccer and basketball camp after school. Like I would be in the studio training. And eventually I started homeschooling so I could train more. So it's really been a part of my life since I was a baby. And definitely the hours and weeks and years of training has definitely paid off. Um, yeah, so far,
Yeah,
so
like
good.
how has like how many times did you train? Like was it every day during the week or was it a specific times during the week?
It was pretty much every day, after school. And then when I started being homeschooled, I used to take privates in the morning, with my ballet teacher, Luba Gulieva. And then I pretty much took class 7 days a week because I would even have privates on Sunday mornings. Um, yeah, so a lot of dance.
That's amazing. Like I can did you ever get bored of it? Like with being doing it 7 times a week? Because if it were me, I'd be like, I'm so tired, I need a break. Like this is too
Yeah.
exhausting.
No, I'd be tired, but I've always been a very determined person. So I loved being in the studio and all my friends were there. So it was like a community and I really just enjoyed the environment.
Like did you just do ballet or you did like all different kinds of genres, like tap or hip hop?
Yeah, so I've done ballet is like my strong suit, but then we also had classes in tap, jazz, and contemporary.
Oh wow, that's amazing. Like, did you how long do you are you still go to that studio or I know you told me you moved to New York a couple years ago. Like, do
Mhm.
you still kind of go back there and dance or you just moved to do dance classes and stuff in New York City?
So I moved to the city. I say 4 years, but I think really it's been 5 years, but I don't count the pandemic because I was at home for that.
Mm.
So really 4 years in person in the city. And I went to the ABT Summer Intensive, American Ballet Theater Summer Intensive at I think I was 13 and back in 2018. And then I was invited to stay for the year round program. So I've been training at ABT at the 890 Broadway building for the last 4 years. And yeah, so I go every day from 11 till the evening. And then, but it's been a bit different with the Broadway schedule. So I just really go when I can. So on non-double show days. So
Mm.
Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday.
Yeah, do you do classes with Anna, like one of your co-stars from The Music Man?
Sometimes I do. I did this week. I went to my first BDC class. Um, and yeah, a few of us took class together. One of our friends, Amanda Lamont, was teaching, so we all wanted to go and join her class.
That's amazing. Like I literally saw a clip of you, Kennedy and Cammy dancing. I'm like, oh my gosh, like it's crazy, like
Yeah.
to kind of see some of the people get back together and kind of dance and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And in plus, you guys played the mayor's daughter in the Music Man, right? You guys all do.
Yes. So Cammy was my understudy for that. And then KK played my little sister in the show, Gracie Shinn, and then I played Zanita. So
Mhm. Yeah,
yeah.
like we'll dive in that Music Man a little bit, but in 2016 you had won overall gold medalist at the World Ballet Competition. Like what was kind of your reaction to kind of winning gold? Like did you kind of expect to win gold?
Not really. I went because I came from a very small town, very small studio. And I think I was the only person there from my studio competing. So it was very strange because a lot of the times, big schools send 50 kids to compete. So I was kind of not the underdog, but I was there representing myself basically. I didn't have a studio name representing me. So
Mhm.
I went, I performed, I felt confident about my performance. I did the best I could do, which was um enough.
Mhm.
And then yeah, then the scores were posted later that day, and I was like, wait, what? Because I didn't really watch the other people. I mean, it's good to watch to like be inspired, but it's also different if you're competing against them. So yeah, it was a big shock, but such an honor, and I'm very proud of myself for that.
You definitely should. Like gold is like insane. Like to win at
Thank
that
you.
place, like, it's absolutely insane.
Yeah.
And
And
I
also it's
guess
crazy because there was like people from 23 different countries. So it was massive.
that's crazy. Like I thought like it was like people from all over the world, not just the United States. That's absolutely
Hmm.
insane.
Yeah.
And like as we kind of dive into the Music Man, like you said, you played Zanetta Shinn in the Music Man on Broadway, which closed last week. I remember me and you were talking about this a couple minutes ago before we started. Like, what was like your favorite part about playing Zanetta?
Ugh, so much. About playing the character specifically, I felt um just really honored and humble just in general throughout the whole entire process because this is actually my first time doing musical theater. So and I know a lot of people that like work their whole lives to even get in the room and be seen. So it was just an honor being cast in the show in the first place. And I also love that I have loved the music band for forever since I was a little baby. It was my grandfather's favorite show, like musical. And I don't know if you've ever seen the movie with Shirley Jones and Robert Preston, but I used to watch that movie like religiously. So, and I always thought Zanita was like weird and quirky. And so it's just a very full circle moment to play her on Broadway. And she was
Mhm.
just a joy, really
Yeah, like
cute.
did you like ever expect to see yourself like playing that like being in the Music Man on Broadway? Like you said like you grew up watching the Music Man on like on TV with your grandfather and growing up with that with the show movie and everything. Like, did you ever expect to be part of like kind of like that live action on Broadway?
No, not in the slightest. Because like I've never even done high school theater. So when I saw that it was coming to Broadway, I was like, oh my, like I've always loved the theater.
Hmm.
Like going to Broadway shows or West End shows or whatnot. But I saw the ad we just like got it in the mail. And I was like, oh, like Sutton Foster's coming to Broadway, Hugh Jackman's coming to Broadway. Like I have to go see this. It's Music Man. I already love the show. And then like one day, like not even a thought of auditioning. I didn't have an agent before this, so I didn't even know how to get into the room to begin with, if I even wanted to audition. Um, and then I just got an email during COVID asking me if Broadway was something I'm interested in. And I was like, that's crazy. There's no way Broadway actually casts like this.
Hmm.
And one thing led to another, and all throughout Zoom meetings and whatnot. And then eventually I got cast in the role. So it was not even a thought in my head that I would be playing Sunita, let
Hmm.
alone like a named character, like
Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, like did you like were you like planning on seeing the show before you were cast? Like once
Mhm.
it was announced that Hugh Jackman and Sam Foster were being like the leads in in the Broadway show, like were you planning on like seeing it before like you got cast or like
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I love both of them like
mhm,
already, like before I even knew them. And then I loved the show. So when I saw the ad, I was like talking to my sister who also loves theater, and she was like the theater kid in high school. Um, so she did like all the spring performances and stuff like that. So I would go and watch her. But anyway, yeah. So we were like, oh, we have to go see this. We love everything about it so far. And then that was back in like 2019,
mhm.
and then the pandemic hit, and then to be honest, like we kind of forgot about it, and all of a sudden I had an opportunity to be in it, and yeah, changed my whole perspective.
And like with like Hugh Jackman, Sam Foster in it, like those two are amazing. Like I grew like I for the last couple of years I watched Sutton and Hugh. They seriously are amazing, and I can't get enough of them. Like, what was it like working with them?
They're both just lovely human beings, like
Mhm.
genuinely. They're so kind, and they care so much about every person. Like they get to know you, which is very like they don't have to do that, like they're huge names. They can just be like, "Oh, hi," like nice and polite, but I would call them like some of my dear friends. So yeah, they're just so lovely, and they work so hard and really set the tone for the building. Like it was such a building full of love, joy, and gratitude. And
Mhm.
everybody was just always on their A game, I think, because of them. They
Mhm.
just really set that standard for us.
Like once like when Hugh and Sutton like arrive in a building, they're always like in a positive tone. Like they're always happy, they're always smiling, they're always like laughing. And that's why I love it is that like every time I go to the stage door, I would see them and they'll be such a good mood. I'm like after like a 8 show week, like they would like it was seen they would be exhausted, they want to
Yeah.
relax, those type of things. But then like they just come to the stage door to the show in such a good mood. That's what like, makes me the happiest person. Is that like with them being huge stars, especially Hugh Jackman, like you would see him having a smile on his face, even though he's probably exhausted from doing an 8 show week.
Yeah, and we were all so tired, but they it's very hard to be in a bad mood in our building. Like everybody's just so joyous, and like especially after the show, we're just like on this high of what we just accomplished, and our show was so fun. And um yeah, there was just a lot of love, so I think it made it easy for us to be in a positive mood majority of the time. And yes, of course, we're all very tired by the end of the week, but um you know, our cheer prevailed.
Yeah, like do you have like a favorite like song or scene in the show they like to perform?
Hmm. My favorite, I think, my favorite song to sing was I Was Stubborn,
Mm.
like top of show. And then my favorite scene that I did was probably the last scene when I got to yell at my dad. Either that was
Mhm.
Jefferson Mays, but then after he left, Marklin Baker replaced him. But and then I think my favorite like number in the show, like all together, like singing, dancing, whatever, was Marion the Librarian.
Oh, that's one of my favorites as well. I was literally watching like a the scene on YouTube. Someone posted like the scene on YouTube, like a couple of like the numbers and stuff.
Mhm.
Like I'll send you the links out there if you didn't see it. But then like I was legit listening to Marion Librarian and repeat. I don't know why.
Yes. Yeah. No, there's something about it. It's just so nice.
Hmm. Yeah, like what was like your audition process like to get to role as Zanetta? Like I remember you saying that you had like do like a bunch of Zoom calls, right?
Yes, it was a very strange process and very much um very weird compared to like a normal process. Granted, I've never been through that, but from what I have heard from like my other castmates who were cast pre-COVID, it was very different. So I got an email from a casting agent at Telsey at the time. Telsey's who cast our show. And she reached out and was like, "Hey, we're looking for Zanetta. We think you would be a great fit. Are you interested in doing Broadway?" And I was like, "This is the scam because like this is too good to be true. Like it's not real. It couldn't possibly be real." So I answered back, and then the next day she was like, "Great, like put yourself on tape saying the lines." And I was like, "Okay, like I guess this is real." So I did that, and then after, I guess they liked it enough to call me into a Zoom meeting with our associate director, Steve. And then I danced. They sent some combos and I put myself on tape dancing. And then I had a Zoom call with Warren Carlisle and Sarah Edwards, our choreographer and associate choreographer. And so I like rented an empty studio during COVID and just like danced for them. And then after that, I had one more Zoom call with Jerry Zachs, our director. And then um yeah, and then I sang. I just like sent in a tape of me singing, and then I had one last Zoom meeting with the casting agent where she offered me the role. So it was like over a span of I think 9 months because there was a few months because of COVID and things changing with the show, um, like with our producers and stuff like that. There were a lot of kind of limbo time where I wasn't sure if I got it or what was happening, but they always like kept me well in the loop and they're just like, "You're still in the running." Just things are going on behind the scenes. So it was a long process, but um, yeah, and a lot of Zoom calls and stuff, but they had to be thorough. And obviously it was over the pandemic. So the first day I ever met any, like a single person from the show was that first day of rehearsals, October 28th, 2021. So it
That's
was
pretty
pretty
cool.
crazy.
Yeah, like what was your reaction like getting the role?
Oh my goodness. I was like, I mean, I tried to pull myself together for the Zoom meeting, but I super excited, like ecstatic. And then my mom came into the room and then I was literally like laying on the floor, screaming and kicking that I was going to be on Broadway.
Like would you ever be on Broadway again after The Music Man, or you just kind of want to stick to dancing?
I would love to be on Broadway again. Like truly enjoyed this experience so much. Um, yes, doing 8 shows a week for a year plus has been difficult and tiring, but I would not have changed anything for the world. Like I loved each and every show, and the cast and the family that I've made. So yeah, I would definitely love to do it again.
Like, do you have like a favorite person that you worked with on the show? I know that's a hard question.
Oh my gosh, that's so hard. I mean, my whole dressing room, we called ourselves dressing room 22 because we were in 22. Like each dressing room has a number. So we
Mhm.
were in 22. So all the ladies in there, and then also like my dear pal, Nicholas Ward, who
Mhm.
was a part of the quartet, and Rima Webb, who is a part of the Pick a Little Ladies, and then probably my closest friends in men ensemble were Drew
Mhm.
Minard, Nick Alvino, and Aiden
Mhm.
Aiken.
Yeah,
Aikman.
like I met Aiden and Drew last week, and they're seriously are the sweetest people. You know, like
Yeah, no, they're
people
so
on.
kind and just have made this experience life changing.
Like, are you planning on staying in New York after the show, or are you just like
Mhm.
planning on moving?
I'm gonna be in the city where I've been living for the past few years, and I'll go back to ABT full time and continue training and then see what happens. I mean, I have an agent now, so they send me for auditions and stuff. So we'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm. Like since the show like recently ended, like what are your upcoming plans? Like, do you have any roles you're planning to get or auditions?
Um, I have a few goals, but nothing tangible yet. Just mainly thinking about going back into class and training again. And I have been doing that throughout the year, but it's been kind of different because um, like in a show, you're doing the same steps over and over. It's very repetitive, so it's easy to get kind of complacent in it. Like, for
Mm-hmm.
example, in the library, we would only do arabesques on our left side. So it's like very important to even out your side so you don't get, you know,
Mm-hmm.
unbalanced basically. So I'm very happy I was still going to class all throughout this process just so to like make myself kind of even again and do a different style is important. So yeah, I'm just gonna go back full time and train and get strong and then see what happens.
And like, what is like some advice for upcoming dancers or people that want to make it Broadway that kind of like want to make that as a career?
Yeah, I think it's just so important to not lose hope.
Mhm.
As and also self-doubt is a real thing and like imposter syndrome. Like I definitely felt that very much in the beginning because I was like, I'm a ballet dancer. Like I don't know what I'm doing. Um, but no, and to not lose hope, like my audition process was very long, and there were definitely some moments where like I wasn't hearing anything back, and I was like, oh, this is something I did, like I could have done this better. But honestly, once you step into the room or the Zoom call, just like really do your best and try to be yourself because if you truly are meant for the role, it will not pass you by. One of the women in my dressing room, AJ, she was like, if something is meant for you, it won't pass you by, which I think is so important
Mhm.
because, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. So I just think not losing hope, keep training, stay doing voice lessons and dance lessons, and maybe get into an acting class or something like that. But yeah, I think hard work and just keeping the faith is important. This is a hard competitive business, so
Exactly. I love what you just said. And like, thank you so much for coming on. I love speaking with you, and like you're seriously amazing. Like I
Thank you.
absolutely love chatting with you. I like with the show ending, like I wish you all the best, and like you're
Thank
seriously
you.
amazing, and just keep up the great work you're doing. You're
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for having me on. This is such a pleasure. You're so nice
of
and
course.
a
Thank you so much.
great interviewer.
Thank you so much. You're so sweet. Thanks so much for coming on, and we'll definitely chat soon. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you.
Of course. Bye.
Bye.